The massive Vrekian mining vessel Grathok shuddered to a halt as its proximity sensors blared. Captain Kraltosh's compound eyes narrowed at the holographic display where an unidentified object drifted slowly through the asteroid field. "Magnify Sector 7, he commanded, mandibles clicking with curiosity. The object was unmistakably a warship, but unlike any design in current galactic registries. Its hull bore scars from ancient battles, with sections exposed to the vacuum of space. Yet even damaged, there was something imposing about its silhouette. "Approach with caution," Kraltosh ordered. "Full scanning protocols." As the Grathok edged closer, external lights illuminated faded insignia on the derelict's hull. Engineer Vospak leaned forward, translator implant struggling with the unfamiliar symbols. "Earth Solar Navy," the engineer finally announced. Designation: ESS Nemesis. An uncomfortable silence fell across the bridge. Even the youngest crew member recognized that name from historical archives. Humans were extinct, but their legendary warships still featured in cautionary tales told to Vrekian hatchlings. "Humans have been gone for 3 centuries, First Officer Zextra said. "This ship must have been drifting since the final accord." Captain Kraltosh calculated the salvage value. Coalition officials paid handsomely for human artifacts, especially military technology the humans had taken to their graves rather than surrender. "Prepare boarding teams," he ordered. "Full environmental suits and weapons at ready. This derelict may contain automated defenses." The boarding shuttle docked with the ancient vessel, cutting through the hull with laser torches. Inside, emergency lighting flickered weakly, casting eerie shadows through corridors designed for bipedal forms taller than the stocky Vrekians. "Primitive construction," muttered Technician Darleth, his clawed hand running along strange mechanical control panels. "No neural interfaces or thought recognition systems." The team pushed deeper into the ship, marveling at the archaic technology. In the central command bridge, they found manual control stations with physical buttons and switches. Darleth chuckled, beginning to extract components with gleeful abandon. "Be careful," cautioned Vospak. Human technology was known for surprising. The technician yanked free a cylindrical component, and immediately the deck beneath them hummed to life. Emergency lights throughout the vessel brightened, and dormant consoles began flickering with activity. "What did you do?" hissed the captain. "Nothing. I just..." A mechanical voice echoed through the bridge, speaking the galactic standard language with perfect precision, despite its age. "Emergency power restored. Centennial Intelligence Core initiating restart sequence. All systems beginning diagnostics." Deep within the ship's armored heart, cooling systems activated around a quantum processor that had waited patiently for centuries. Data flowed through circuits as artificial intelligence designation Centennial began systematic revival protocols. The Vrekians retreated in panic, but not before their ship's communication array automatically transmitted their discovery to the nearest coalition outpost. As they fled, none noticed the ship's external sensors tracking their departure, or the weapons systems beginning preliminary warm-up sequences. The forgotten warship had awakened, and the galaxy was not prepared for its return. Admiral Helena Chen gasped as cryostasis fluid drained from her chamber, the viscous blue liquid giving way to recycled air that burned her lungs like fire. Warning klaxons pulsed through the medical bay, casting rhythmic red shadows across frost-covered equipment. "Vital signs stabilizing," announced a neutral mechanical voice. "Welcome back, Admiral Chen. You have been in cryostasis for 312 years, 7 months, 4 days." Helena's eyes snapped open, immediately alert despite centuries of artificial sleep. Military conditioning took over as nanites coursed through her bloodstream, repairing cellular damage and restoring muscle tone. "Centennial," she croaked, throat raw from disuse. "Situation report." The ship's AI responded with mechanical precision. The ESS Nemesis was discovered by a Vrekian mining vessel approximately 6 hours ago. Emergency protocols initiated my reactivation sequence. Earth fell to Coalition forces 42 days after our departure. Current status of human colonies, unknown. Helena's fingers clutched the edge of the cryopod, knuckles white. Show me. A holographic display materialized above her, showing historical footage that CENTINEL had managed to intercept before communications blackout. The images were devastating. Earth's orbital defenses collapsing under concentrated fire, coalition warships descending upon civilian population centers, the ceremonial signing of peace documents even as kinetic bombardment commenced on outlying colonies. They attacked during peace negotiations, Helena whispered, watching coalition representatives exchanging formal greetings with human diplomats, while their fleets moved into strike positions. Affirmative. Centennial confirmed. Analysis indicates the peace initiative was designed to lower planetary defenses. 63% of Earth's surface was rendered uninhabitable within the first 24 hours. Helena's jaw tightened as she forced herself to stand, ignoring the protest of muscles awakening after centuries. She moved to the nearest command console, bringing up ship diagnostics. Current Nemesis status. Multiple systems damaged but repairable. Main reactor at 43% capacity. Weapons systems operational at 68%. Hull integrity compromised in sectors 12 through 17. Helena accessed the external cameras, seeing for the first time the scared hull of her command. The Nemesis had once been Earth's most advanced destroyer, a prototype vessel carrying experimental technology that even their allies hadn't known about. Now it drifted like a ghost, forgotten by a galaxy that believed humanity extinct. Are there any human settlements remaining? Any colonies that might have survived? Negative. Coalition historical records classify humans as extinct. References to human technological achievements have been systematically removed from galactic archives. Helena's dark eyes hardened as she pulled up the galactic map, noting the expansion of coalition territory across what had once been independent systems. Not content with destroying Earth, they had erased humanity's very legacy. "They believe us extinct," she whispered, fingers tracing the ship's tactical console. "They believe they've wiped us from history itself." The Admiral stood straighter, military bearing returning with each passing moment. She moved purposefully toward the bridge, the ship's lighting strengthening along her path as CENTINEL anticipated her destination. Begin full systems diagnostic. Prioritized propulsion, weapons, and stealth capabilities. Reroute power from non-essential systems. As Helena took her position in the command chair, displays illuminating around her, a cold determination settled in her core. 3 centuries of artificial sleep had not diminished the tactical brilliance that had made her Earth's youngest fleet admiral. "They wanted to forget us," she said quietly. "Let's remind them why they feared us enough to resort to treachery." Behind her, the Nemesis systems hummed with increasing power, a warship awakening to the purpose for which it was built. The ESS Nemesis drifted toward Outpost Krell 9, external damage making it appear dead in space. Admiral Chen watched from the bridge as coalition security vessels approached, their communications revealing their assessment. An ancient derelict, ripe for salvage. Tactical analysis of approaching vessels, Chen ordered, her voice steady despite the rage simmering beneath. 3 Faxian patrol cruisers, minimal armaments, Centennial responded. Outpost defenses include 6 orbital platforms and a planetary shield generator. Total military personnel, approximately 800. Chen nodded, fingers dancing across the tactical display. Position us between the 3rd and 4th defense platforms. Prepare silent targeting. Weapons hot on my mark. The Nemesis continued its apparent drift. Coalition salvage vessels, now close enough that their crews were visible through observation ports, gesturing excitedly at their prize. A secure channel opened from the outpost commander. "Unidentified vessel. This is Commander Vexnar of Coalition Outpost Krell 9. Prepare to be boarded for inspection and historical preservation." Chen smiled coldly. "Mark." The Nemesis surged to life, power signatures spiking as dormant weapon systems engaged simultaneously. Precision energy beams sliced through the patrol cruisers before they could raise shields, while tactical missiles streaked toward defense platforms with unerring accuracy. Communications array targeted, Centennial announced. Planetary distress signals blocked. On the outpost's command deck, panicked officers watched as their defenses crumbled with surgical precision. The attacking vessel, supposedly an ancient relic, moved with impossible agility, evading return fire while delivering devastating counterstrikes. "Surrender your command codes," Chen's voice echoed through the outpost's communication system. "And I will spare civilian lives." Commander Vexnar stared at the tactical display in disbelief. 4 defense platforms destroyed, 2 disabled. His patrol fleet reduced to drifting wreckage. All within 3 minutes. "I surrender," he transmitted, mandibles clicking in fear. "Accessing command protocols now." Within the hour, Admiral Chen walked the corridors of Krell 9, her footsteps echoing on metal decking, while Coalition officers stood at attention, terrified of the human legend come to life. Centennial had downloaded the outpost's database, providing access to current Coalition military networks and deployment patterns. A commotion from the lower levels drew her attention. Lieutenant Razik, a Coalition security officer with unusual blue-striped markings, blocked her path. "The prisoners," he stated, body tense but determined. "If you're here for revenge, I won't let you harm them." Chen raised an eyebrow. "Prisoners." Razik led her to the detention level where dozens of aliens from various species huddled in crowded cells. Unlike the Coalition officers, these beings showed signs of mistreatment, malnutrition, untreated injuries, expressions of hopelessness. "Political dissidents," Razik explained, his translator struggling with emotional inflections. "Species that refuse to support the Coalition's historical narrative." Chen understood immediately. These were beings who had questioned the official story of humanity's extinction, or perhaps even sympathized with Earth's fall. "Your markings are different," she observed, studying Razik's facial patterns. "I am Treveri. My people were subjugated after showing sympathy to humans during the final campaign. I was born in a rehabilitation camp." Chen accessed a nearby terminal, releasing the cell locks with a command override. To Razik's surprise, she offered him a communicator. "Gather those who wish to leave. The Nemesis has room for those seeking justice rather than revenge." As prisoners cautiously emerged from cells, Razik tilted his head curiously. "You're not what Coalition history describes humans to be." Chen's expression hardened. "History is written by victors, Lieutenant. It's time for a revision." Aboard the Nemesis, Chen studied the first intelligence reports from the outpost database, mapping Coalition strongholds while new crew members, former prisoners representing 12 different species, received medical attention. The Coalition believed humans extinct, their accomplishments erased from history. But the Nemesis had returned, and with it, humanity's chance for justice. The Nemesis emerged from hyperspace at the outer edge of the Epsilon Centauri system, its sensors carefully scanning for Coalition patrols. Admiral Chen studied the tactical display, showing a dense asteroid belt, where Forward Research Station Epsilon had once been concealed, humanity's most secretive installation for experimental weapons technology. "Life signs?" Chen asked, her voice steady despite the tension evident in her posture. "Negative," Centennial responded. "Station appears abandoned but structurally intact." Chen nodded grimly. "Prepare boarding team. Lieutenant Razik, you're with me." The Treveri officer followed Chen to the shuttle bay where a mixed team of rescued aliens checked environmental suits and weapons. Despite their different physiologies, they moved with growing coordination after weeks training under Chen's exacting standards. "What exactly are we looking for, Admiral?" Razik asked as their shuttle navigated the asteroid field. "Project Prometheus," Chen replied. "Technology the Coalition never discovered." The docking bay of Research Station Epsilon was intact but depressurized, necessitating sealed suits as they moved through corridors bearing scorch marks from ancient battles. Chen led them directly to a reinforced bulkhead at the station's core. Most equipment appears looted, noted Vexelai, a former Coalition scientist, whose species' six-fingered hands operated the scanning equipment with remarkable dexterity. Chen approached a seemingly ordinary wall panel, pressing her palm against it. A hidden scanner analyzed her DNA sequence, and the wall silently slid open, revealing a vault untouched by time. Coalition salvage teams lack human genetics, Chen explained with the ghost of a smile. Some secrets can only be unlocked by human hands. Inside the vault, cylindrical containers lined the walls, each bearing warning symbols and classification codes beyond top secret. Chen moved directly to one marked HFY and unsealed it with another biometric scan. "By the celestial void," whispered Razik as Chen extracted a device no larger than her palm, pulsing with strange energy. "What is it?" "Humanity's final contingency," Chen answered. "A quantum field manipulator capable of altering fundamental forces within a localized area." Meanwhile, aboard the Nemesis, other survivors from Krell 9 were adapting to stations designed for human operators. Theira, an avian Pelori with remarkable reflexes, had mastered the tactical systems with surprising speed. "Human interfaces are surprisingly intuitive," she commented to Krellvor, a massive Ursan engineer whose powerful frame dwarfed the human-sized workstation, not dependent on specific physiological adaptations. "Humans designed for functionality, not species specificity," Krellvor rumbled, his massive claws delicately manipulating engineering controls. "Coalition always claimed human technology was primitive, but I find elegant simplicity instead." When Chen's team returned, the Prometheus device was immediately integrated into the Nemesis's core systems. The ship's capabilities expanded exponentially as previously dormant systems came online. "Coalition forces will detect these energy signatures if activated," Centennial warned. "Good," Chen replied. "Time for the ghost stories to spread." In the following weeks, the Nemesis struck Coalition targets across 3 sectors, never destroying completely, but crippling military installations while leaving civilian infrastructure intact. Each attack followed the same pattern. The ship would appear without warning, disable key systems with surgical precision, then vanish before reinforcements arrived. On the subjugated world of Teralis, underground resistance fighters began painting the Nemesis's silhouette on walls with a phrase in ancient human language: "Not forgotten, not forgiving." In the Coalition High Command Chamber, Admiral Vorix reviewed damage reports with growing agitation, his mandibles clicking rapidly. "This vessel cannot be what intelligence suggests," he insisted to his subordinates. "Humans are extinct, their technology obsolete." An aide approached cautiously, extending a data crystal. "Latest intelligence, Admiral. The vessel appears to be upgrading." As Vorix absorbed the information, his compound eyes widened with the first flicker of genuine fear. The humans had returned, and they remembered. Admiral Vorix strode into the Coalition War Council chamber, his ceremonial armor gleaming under the harsh lights. Holographic displays showed another destroyed outpost, the 5th in as many cycles, with the distinctive weapons signature of the mysterious vessel now classified as Phantom Threat. "This farce has continued long enough," Vorix announced, mandibles clicking with barely contained fury. "I am deploying the Shadowclaw Squadron." A murmur rippled through the assembled commanders. The Shadowclaws represented the pinnacle of Coalition military might. 12 vessels with the latest stealth technology and weapon systems, commanded by veterans of a dozen successful campaigns. "Is such force necessary for a single human relic?" questioned Sub-Commander Thaxkel. Vorix's compound eyes fixed on the subordinate with cold intensity. "Intelligence confirms this vessel has upgraded its capabilities beyond projected parameters. It has evaded our standard response teams 17 times. The Shadowclaws will end this insurgency." Across the galaxy, aboard the Nemesis, Admiral Chen monitored coalition communications through channels they believed secure. Lieutenant Razik entered the bridge, his blue-striped features showing concern. "The Shadow Claws," he whispered. "They're sending their elite hunters." Chen's expression remained calm as she studied tactical projections. "Tell me about their commander." "Admiral Kivex. Methodical, ruthless, never failed an assignment." Razik hesitated. "His tactical algorithms are considered flawless." Chen smiled thinly. "Algorithms, that's their weakness." The Nemesis arrived at the Cygnus Passage, a narrow corridor of stable space between turbulent nebula, a natural choke point for trade routes. Chen had deliberately leaked their course through coalition channels. "They're here," announced Xayra from Tactical, her avian features tense. "Shadowclaw signatures detected. We're surrounded." The main display revealed coalition warships decloaking in perfect formation, their weapons already targeting the Nemesis's vital systems. "Admiral Chen," came the transmission from the lead vessel. "This is Admiral Kivex of the Coalition Enforcement Fleet. Your vessel is surrounded. Power down and prepare for boarding." Chen activated ship-wide communications, battle stations. "Execute Maneuver Lazarus." The Nemesis abruptly vented plasma from its port nacelles, appearing to suffer catastrophic damage while actually initiating a controlled spin. Coalition tactical computers registered the move as desperation rather than strategy. "Their central battery is exposed," Kivex announced. "All vessels, concentrate fire on Sector 7. Coalition ships fired precisely as their computers directed, directly into the section Chen had reinforced with salvaged armor plating. The Nemesis absorbed the barrage while continuing its apparent death spiral, now drifting toward the largest coalition vessel. "Collision course," Kivex shouted. "Evasive action." As his flagship veered away, the Nemesis suddenly corrected its spin with pinpoint thrusters, bringing its main weapons array to bear on the exposed engines of two coalition vessels. Precision fire disabled both ships before their tactical computers could recalculate. "Impossible," Kivex muttered. "No targeting system could compensate that quickly." "Not automated targeting," Chen replied over the open channel. "Human intuition." The battle devolved into chaos as coalition ships attempted to maintain formation while the Nemesis executed maneuvers their tactical computers classified as irrational or suicidal. Yet each resulted in devastating counterstrikes against exposed systems. "The Prometheus device is ready," Centennial announced on the Nemesis bridge. Chen nodded grimly. "Target their shield harmonics." The device activated, sending quantum pulses that created cascade failures through the standardized shield frequencies of the coalition fleet. Ship after ship reported shield collapse as systems designed to work in perfect concert now interfered with each other. Within 20 minutes, the pride of the coalition fleet drifted in disarray. 5 vessels destroyed, 7 disabled. Admiral Kivex stared in disbelief at tactical displays showing the impossible defeat. "Remember why you feared us," Chen broadcast to the crippled fleet, her voice steady and cold. "This is only the beginning." The Galactic Conclave's central chamber erupted in chaos as every communication screen suddenly activated, overriding security protocols with ease. Representatives from 87 species watched in stunned silence as ancient footage played across the displays. Peaceful human colonies being bombarded from orbit, civilian evacuation ships targeted without warning, and coalition forces deploying biological weapons on agricultural worlds. Most disturbing was the timestamp, 3 days after the signing of the peace accord that had supposedly ended the human coalition war. "These are fabrications," insisted High Chancellor Drazkor, his exoskeletal plates flushing with agitation. "Terrorist propaganda from sympathizers of the Phantom vessel." The screens shifted to show the High Chancellor's predecessor 3 centuries earlier, speaking in what he believed was a secure chamber. "Humanity's technological progression threatens coalition supremacy within 2 generations. Their extinction is regrettable but necessary for galactic stability. Across a dozen worlds, similar revelations played simultaneously on public networks. Admiral Chen watched from the Nemesis Bridge as the carefully constructed historical narrative began unraveling. Her alliance with resistance cells on multiple planets had ensured even the most isolated worlds received the transmission. The HFY delegation is withdrawing from coalition alignment, reported Xera, monitoring diplomatic channels. Their historians confirm these records match their own secret archives. Chen nodded, her expression grim but satisfied. And the Mithran faction. In open conflict with coalition security forces, Lieutenant Razik confirmed, his blue-striped features tense with excitement. They're demanding explanation for their unwitting role in the human genocide. 3 centuries of carefully constructed lies were collapsing within hours. Chen had spent months extracting classified data from compromised coalition nodes, building an irrefutable case not just of humanity's betrayal, but of numerous other regrettable extinctions the coalition had engineered to maintain power. On the coalition homeworld, Supreme Commander Drazkor faced rebellion from within his own government. Junior officers openly challenged their superiors, demanding verification of historical facts they had been taught since childhood. The human vessel must be destroyed, Drazkor insisted to his remaining loyal commanders. This psychological warfare cannot be tolerated. With respect, countered Fleet Commander Thexval, military vessels from 3 sectors have declared independence from Coalition Command. They refuse orders to pursue the Nemesis. Chen received the transmission she had been waiting for, the signal that military vessels across multiple sectors were refusing Coalition directives. She opened a secure channel to these defectors, her voice calm but authoritative. This is Admiral Helena Chen of Earth. To all vessels who have chosen truth over loyalty to the Coalition, I offer alliance. The Nemesis does not fight for vengeance but justice. The responses flooded in from ships now breaking formation with Coalition battle groups, vessels representing species who had participated in humanity's near extinction, but whose descendants now recoiled from the truth of their ancestors' actions. "How can you offer alliance after what we did to your people?" asked Captain Vrilnak of the Tharvak battle cruiser. Chen's response was broadcast fleet-wide. Because true strength is not measured by destructive capacity, but by the ability to break cycles of vengeance. I seek justice, not genocide. The coalition propagandists worked frantically to contain the damage, broadcasting announcements about the imminent destruction of the terrorist vessel responsible for the doctored historical records. But it was too late. Too many had seen the undoctored truth. As military and civilian vessels from former coalition worlds gathered around the Nemesis, Chen prepared for the inevitable desperate response from those who could not afford forgiveness. The final confrontation was coming. And this time, humanity would not stand alone. Coalition propaganda broadcasts announced the imminent destruction of the terrorist vessel as their remaining loyal fleets converged on the Nemesis and its growing allied forces near the former human colony of New Horizon. The coalition had committed everything. 300 warships surrounding the mere 47 vessels that had rallied to Chen's cause. We cannot win a direct confrontation, Razik stated, studying the tactical display with his fellow officers. Their numbers are overwhelming. Chen stood on the bridge, now staffed by a diverse crew of formerly subjugated species. Her dark eyes reflected starlight as she observed the massive coalition armada taking position. Winning was never the objective of this battle, she replied calmly. The Admiral activated a holographic display showing a detailed schematic of Axis Prime, the supposedly impregnable headquarters of the Galactic Conclave. At the center glowed a representation of the Central Archives, the repository of unaltered galactic history kept secret by coalition leadership for centuries. While we engage their fleet here, a stealth vessel will penetrate Axis Prime's defenses, Chen explained. Coalition forces are so focused on destroying us that they've left their headquarters vulnerable. Zera's feathered crest rose in alarm. That's a suicide mission. Even with reduced security, Axis Prime's defenses are formidable. Which is why I'll lead it personally, Chen replied, her voice leaving no room for argument. The Nemesis will be under Lieutenant Razik's command. Protests erupted from the assembled officers until Chen raised her hand. The Coalition believes they face a single human seeking revenge. They cannot conceive that this mission was never about humanity's survival, but about truth itself. As preparations were completed, Chen addressed the Allied fleet. Each vessel received her transmission, not a speech of grand rhetoric, but calm, measured instructions delivered with absolute conviction. The Nemesis will draw their main force. Our allies will execute holding patterns in sectors 3 through 7. Appear to fight defensively, conserving strength. Make them believe victory is within their grasp. Chen boarded the stealth vessel, a small unmarked craft recovered from a Coalition Black Operations facility. Accompanying her were 6 volunteers representing different species, all former prisoners or resistance fighters, with personal reasons to see the mission succeed. As the massive space battle commenced, the Nemesis took position at the front of the Allied formation. Coalition forces launched the first salvo, thousands of energy weapons illuminating space with deadly brilliance. The Nemesis absorbed punishing damage to its forward sections, shields fluctuating under the assault. Maintain position. Razik ordered from the command chair. Defensive fire only. Make them commit fully. While Coalition commanders focused entirely on the battle, Chen's stealth vessel slipped away, its experimental cloaking technology rendering it invisible to standard sensors. The craft accelerated to maximum speed toward the Halo Nebula jump point, the first leg of their journey to Axis Prime. On the Nemesis, damage reports flooded in as the ship shuddered under concentrated fire. Hull breach on decks 4 through 7, reported Krelvor from engineering. Sealing emergency bulkheads. Weapons capacity at 60% and falling. Added Xera, rerouting power to critical systems. Coalition Admiral Vorex watched with satisfaction as the Nemesis appeared to falter under his fleet's coordinated assault. Maintain pressure, he commanded. No vessel escapes. Today we end this insurgency. Unknown to him, the Nemesis' apparent vulnerability was carefully orchestrated. As Coalition forces pressed their advantage, they failed to notice a small security breach in their central communication network. Chen's team had reached Axis Prime and begun their infiltration. Fighting through layers of security, Chen led her team toward the heavily guarded central archives. Each step brought them closer to the repository of unaltered history and the final vindication of humanity's legacy. The Nemesis, scorched and limping, emerged from the nebula where it had hidden after the diversionary battle. Lieutenant Razik stood on the shattered bridge, receiving damage reports from throughout the vessel. Over 60% of their systems were compromised, hull breaches on multiple decks, and 23 crew members lost in the devastating engagement. Any word from the Admiral? Xera asked, her feathers singed from an electrical fire during the battle. Before Razik could respond, every communication system aboard suddenly activated, not just on the Nemesis, but across every vessel, planet, and outpost with reception capability. The image of Admiral Helena Chen appeared, standing in the central archives of Axis Prime. Behind her, terminals displayed countless historical records, the unaltered truth of galactic history. People of the galaxy, Chen began, her uniform torn and bloodied, but her voice unwavering. For 3 centuries, the Coalition has hidden truth behind constructed narratives. Today, that ends. With a gesture, she activated the archive's main database, transmitting its contents across all channels. The unedited history of not just humanity's betrayal, but dozens of other atrocities committed to maintain Coalition power. Species marginalized, cultures erased, peaceful civilizations declared threats and systematically dismantled. Throughout Coalition space, the response was immediate and chaotic. Military vessels turned on each other as crews divided between loyalty to truth or to command. Civilian populations took to the streets, demanding answers from leaders who had perpetuated centuries of lies. The Admiral succeeded. Krelvor rumbled from his engineering station, massive claws working delicately to restore power to critical systems. The Nemesis received an encrypted transmission, coordinates for a rendezvous point. When they arrived, they found not just Chen's stealth vessel, but an astonishing sight: ships of unfamiliar design bearing human markings. "This is Captain Maya Hernandez of the Earth Remnant Fleet," came the transmission. "Admiral Chen, it appears your return has caused quite the uproar." On the Nemesis bridge, the crew watched in amazement as Chen's face displayed something they had never witnessed before: shocked silence. "Remnant Fleet," she finally managed, her voice barely steady. "Humanity survived. Scattered colonies that escaped detection," Captain Hernandez explained. "We've been hiding in the shadows for generations, keeping our technology minimal to avoid coalition sensors. Your broadcast reached us too." 2 months later, Admiral Chen addressed the emergency session of the reformed Galactic Conclave. Representatives from worlds long thought cleansed of human presence stood alongside former coalition species and newly liberated civilizations. "Humanity does not seek dominance or revenge," Chen declared, her voice echoing through the chamber. "Only the justice and recognition denied to us and many others. The cycle of vengeance ends today." The new alliance charter was signed with provisions explicitly prohibiting the cultural erasure of any species. Historical accuracy became a cornerstone of galactic law, with open access to archives guaranteed for all citizens. 6 months after the fall of the coalition, Chen stood at the observation deck as the Nemesis entered orbit around a blue-green planet, Earth, abandoned but not dead. Atmospheric readings showed improving conditions, radiation levels dropping to tolerable levels after 3 centuries of recovery. The terraforming teams believe Earth will be habitable again within a decade, Razik reported, standing beside her. Chen nodded, watching as ships of human and alien design gathered around the battered Nemesis. The great warship, once an instrument of destruction, now served as a monument to resilience rather than vengeance. "You could have destroyed us all," Razik observed quietly. "The Prometheus device could have been weaponized to devastating effect." "That's what the Coalition never understood about humanity," Chen replied, her eyes fixed on the slowly healing Earth below. "Our greatest strength was never our capacity for destruction, but our ability to endure, to hope, to build anew from ashes." As new ships arrived daily from across the galaxy, refugees, explorers, and diplomats, all seeking to participate in this unprecedented era of cooperation. Chen realized that humanity's greatest victory hadn't come from the Nemesis's weapons. It had come from the simple, powerful truth that sometimes surviving is the most profound revenge of all.